Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. Look, the graphics. I thought you guys probably thought I forgot about them. I have not forgotten about the graphics. You're all making Gotham great again by supporting the show. One of the great ways to do it is to go to patreon.com and do what Lauren D'Alessandro has done. She has supported the show from day one. Sent us this from the street. So this is a right-wing publication. This is a very conservative publication, but the stats are the stats. 10% of adults didn't have enough to eat in the previous 7 days. So while these two parties, Mitch McConnell and Pelosi, are having one of their stupid little duopoly slap fights, there's people not getting enough to eat in the richest country in the history of the world. Gee, I wonder if that $4.25 trillion that was given to Wall Street in the first CARES Act, I wonder if that was given to the American people, if these stats would still be this bad. 10% of adults just in the last week. So here's the food sufficiency of the last 7 days. I'm going to break into the specifics here because I know there's a lot of numbers on the page, but I want you to just take care of that. If you look at this. So on the left, the age groups, right? They got 250 million people, basically, roughly. Enough of the types of food, 134 million. Enough food, but not always the right types, 63. Sometimes not enough to eat, 17 million. Often not enough to eat, 4.9, almost 5 million people. Let's get into the specifics here. And look, if you go down this whole thing, and the link is in the show notes, it's even for men and women. It's the worst age groups are 25 through 54 are basically the same number. This says Hispanic, 1 million, white alone, 2.1 million, black alone, 1.1, Asian alone. So look at these age groups here. You've got sometimes not enough to eat and often not enough to eat. You've got just in the 25 to 54 age range, you've got what looks like over 13 million people. Of all the age groups, you've got 21 million people. That's pretty alarming. This is from the U.S. Census Bureau, where this journalist got this information. Based on responses collected September 16th through the 28th, the Household Pulse Survey estimates that 24% of American adults expect someone in their household to experience a loss in employment income in the next 4 weeks. So people are not getting enough to eat. They're not getting enough to eat. One of the reasons they're not getting enough to eat, 24% of American adults think someone in their home is going to lose employment in the next 4 weeks. This was the end of September when they did this survey. Here's the reasons. They did this just a pulse survey on Twitter. Loss of income. Based on responses collected, the household survey estimates that 24% of American adults expect someone in a household to experience a loss of employment income in the next 4 weeks. Telework. The Household Pulse Survey estimates that 36.6% of adults live in households where at least one adult substituted some or all in-person work for telework because of the coronavirus pandemic, which is, hey, I'm glad they're working. I talk about that like I'm teleworking, I'm doing this, and I've done Zoom comedy shows with Ron. But as I've discussed, So like, and I've said this before, as a comedian, when I go on the road, I impact roughly 70 other jobs, from the Lyft driver that takes me to the airport, the baggage claim, the airport people. Then we land in the new the airport at the new city where we land in, the rental car people, the hotel people, everybody at the comedy club, right? So it's the same thing. If you think about, many of you are working from home. So when you went to work at an office, there was janitors at that office. There was people taking care of the maintenance of that office. Maybe there was a parking lot attendant at that office. Maybe there was, one of those offices that has a little store in it, or a food court or whatever. Those jobs are gone. Right? You'd walk to your local coffee shop on your lunch break to get it, whatever. All that's gone. Maybe you took public transportation, maybe you bought a newspaper at the train stop or whatever. Think about all those little jobs, even if you're home working, which, hey, I'm glad you're working, but think about all those jobs surrounding an office that, nope. Maybe after work, you'd go to your gym or yoga studio or, kickboxing or whatever. Well, that's shut down. Now you work at home and you do that online at home. Enough to eat. The Household Pulse survey estimates that 10.1% of American adults lived in households where there was either sometimes or often not enough to eat in the previous 7 days. Rent. The survey estimates that 6.8% of adults are either not current on their rent or mortgage payment, or have slight or no confidence in making their next. 6.8% of adults. Let's do some quick math here. It's 249 million people. You're talking about 16, almost 17 million people in this survey have slight or no confidence in making the next payment. Eviction estimates that out of adults living in households not current or rent on mortgage, 32.1% of eviction or foreclosure in the next 2 months is either somewhat or very likely. That's alarming. Estimates meeting expenses that 31.9% of adults live in households where it has been somewhat or very difficult to pay usual household expenses during the coronavirus pandemic. Somewhat or very difficult, meaning the other expenses, electric bill, phone bill, whatever. Canceled plans estimates that 81.7% of households with post-secondary educational plans had those plans canceled or changed significantly this fall. Not going to college. I was just surfing with a kid who was like, yeah, I moved here. My brother lives here, and my senior year of high school is shot, so I'm just studying classes online on a local community college, and I just thought I'd come here and surf. That's what he's been doing all summer and into the fall now. 249.2 million people. 134 million people had enough food of the right type. 63.8 million people had enough food, but not necessarily the right type, meaning maybe they're not eating as healthy. That's what that means. That's kind of significant. Like, oh, we used to buy all this nice, fresh, organic food. Organic food's too expensive, so now we buy, or rather than having fresh whatever, we're eating more just like pasta, rice, big starchy stuff that's not, we're just getting loaves of bread at the discount or whatever, just not as healthy. 17.3 million people did not have enough to eat. 4.9 million did not have enough, just did not have enough to eat. Not sometimes, flat out. Almost 5 million people did not have enough to eat. 29 million people didn't report. So here's how they came to the 10%. You minus 29 million that didn't report. So that brings the 249 down to 220 million people. And now there you go. There's your 10.1%. And they can't find us a stimulus bill. But Wall Street got taken care of. The big corporations got bailout money. The airlines and all them. Okay, you're going to give a big corporation like a big airline. You're going to give United or American Airlines a bunch of bailout money. That better be going to the employees. But it's not. They're getting furloughed and laid off. But the executives, I bet you they're getting their money. I bet you the executives are getting enough to eat. Jeff Bezos having a hard time getting enough to eat. Bill Gates having a hard time. Are the Clintons and the Bushes, the Obamas and the Trumps and the Bidens, and are they having a hard time eating? Is Nancy Pelosi, did she have to sell one of her ice cream fridges? No? Huh. Look, I voted. I'm all for voting. You got to vote. There's a bunch of ballot measures that are important. City council seats are important, and the deep state can't cheat all that shit. But if you think electoral politics is going to be what changes things, I always vote. I always will. But when you've got 20-some million hungry people in this country, and another 30 million looming evictions coming, and more layoffs are coming, what's next? Maybe time for general strike. Maybe it's time for peaceful nonviolent resistance. I don't know. It's going to be tough. I'm all for peaceful nonviolent resistance. The draconian police departments that have been given military grade weapons for the last 30 years, and thanks to like the Biden crime bill and the Clintons and the Bushes and everybody else, if you can, grow your own food. I'm starting to learn that myself. I'm starting to learn that myself. I'm getting into cryptocurrency. This economic system is collapsing. And it's because all they've done is bail out big corporations. And the Democrats don't give a shit about you. The Republicans don't give a shit about you. Trump doesn't care about you. Biden doesn't care about you. If Biden wins, he might handle COVID a little bit better. He might be some stimulus stuff in there, but he'll make sure the big corporations are taken care of. I don't know. Have you had enough? Have you had enough? That's why they're pushing us into a civil war. Because notice nowhere in that breakdown was like, well, red state voters are hungry, but less than or more than blue state. That doesn't matter. When you're screwed over by the billionaires and the oligarchs, this red blue shit is just, that's a scam to keep us divided. They want us divided, distracted, and afraid. They want us fighting with each other in the streets. Because if we're fighting with each other in the streets, we're not storming the castle. But there are protests outside of Jeff Bezos' home. In Los Angeles, they've had some. In one of his homes in Washington, D.C., they put a guillotine outside of it. Jeff Bezos could single-handedly end homelessness in this country, and anyone who's hungry right now, he could end it. One guy, could end it all alone and still be a billionaire. Record profits he's enjoyed the last 7-8 months. Record profits. The oligarchs that control this country and the world have had record profits since the shutdown. While people going hungry, those numbers keep going up. Those assholes keep making money. So I'm going to talk about this in a way the corporate media won't. That's why you come to this show, because I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm not going to now cut to some ad from some big company that is telling me what to say or cannot say. Well, don't make fun of Jeff Bezos. He buys a lot of ad time with us. Don't go after Boeing, Graham. They buy ad time. I don't have that problem. Even the ads that run on YouTube, I get paid when you watch them. Those companies don't have a say in what I do. They don't give me huge checks. I get paid if you watch them. So by you letting those ads play is taking money out of their pocket and putting it into mine. It's not buying their product. So thanks for supporting what I do so I can keep bringing you stuff like this. Thank you, Lauren D'Alessandro, a Patreon member. It's a great way to support what we do. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood. You can also support what we do at rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. It is another platform. It's blockchain and it's cryptocurrency, which means blockchain, it can't be bought by some big company like Google or Facebook, and we're paid in cryptocurrency. All my videos are up on Rockfin ad-free, and they're free. It's free to sign up and free to watch. If there is a premium tier on Rockfin, it's $10 a month. You get access to all the premium content for all the content creators across the whole platform. Me, Ron Placone, Convo Couch, Nico House, Richard Medhurst, Kim Iverson, Jimmy Dore, all these people. Dave Anthony from the Dollop is going to start, Whitney Webb. So check it out. Check it out, everybody. And then, of course, I have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. I have a PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. I even have a P.O. box if you want to go old school. I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet, all in the show notes. Thanks for watching. You're making Gotham great again. Boom.